Well, first tonight, children as young as 11 are being groomed into violent drug gangs at school. That's according to the head of a Derby charity that's supporting several worried parents. Well, tonight, 3 women tell us how their families were just torn apart after they discovered drugs and weapons at their homes. One asked the police to arrest her grandchild, while another had to get her own son taken into care. Our social affairs correspondent Jeremy Ball reports.
Where do they get them from?
The dark web.
2 mothers and a grandmother united by the fear of what's happening to their teenage boys.
This found in bedrooms, under beds.
Tracy's charity's helping them deal with the children's violent lifestyles.
You're slowly losing your kitchen knives.
We've hidden their faces and changed their names so they can speak to us openly.
Yeah. I found machetes that big. Yeah.
That big.
The women all say it began when the boys made new friends at school.
That a friend would treat him to food, do favours for him, and he felt indebted, he felt accepted. He felt that he had a job to do, he had a status.
He was about 12 and it started off with just silly things like stealing a hat from a shop, and then it ended up with a street robbery. He got rid of his normal friends, massive mood change.
How worried were you about him and what he was getting into?
Terrified. My biggest fear is that I'm going to be identifying a body.
Can you make some peace?
This footage helped jail a taxi driver who took children to deal drugs in Derby, and some members of this support group say cabs collected their children day and night. And this is what they found in the boys' bedrooms: wads of cash, cheap disposable burner phones, as well as wraps of drugs and equipment for producing them.
Took what I found to the police, weighing scales. He hasn't taken up an interest in the Great British Bake Off. He thinks that I'm some sort of snitch, and I got a phone call to say he'd been arrested. Part of me felt relieved because it's either he's going to kill somebody or someone's going to kill him.
Tia says her son was disappearing for days on end and then coming home with expensive designer clothes.
They would communicate through gaming, so over PlayStations. He was aggressive, he lied all the time. My son was this alien that was wandering in and out the house. I didn't know him anymore. Because I do feel like I've lost him. You're lying there waiting for the police to come and tell you they have your son and he's been murdered.
Did you go to the night?
No.
We're supporting children who are getting younger and younger, so regular we're supporting 11, 12, 13-year-olds who have been controlled, bullied, threatened into carrying out criminal acts and for Countylines to sell drugs, because the perpetrators will say, if you don't do this, I will get your family. It tears a family apart.
And it makes their homes targets for the police too. That's why Marty decided to have her son taken into care.
It was heartbreaking. I felt like I'd betrayed him. I didn't recognise my son anymore. I'd been woken up by the police at 4 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'd had to make a choice. Ultimately, I did it for his protection. It's something that I'll never get over as a parent.
You do it!
But the support group's a place where they can start getting over what they've been through, sharing the pain, sharing advice, and a rare chance to escape.
There's laughter, there's tears, sometimes there's anger, but we're in a space where we can vent that healthily.
You can talk and you don't feel judged, you don't feel ashamed, and you think that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
I'm always hopeful. Whatever way my son comes back to me, he'll still be my son and I'll support him.
Well, Jeremy's with me now in the studio. And Jeremy, it's such sad stories, and so brave of these women to speak out like that so candidly.
Yeah, I mean, horrific stories, aren't they? And a warning, really, that this can happen to almost anyone. And the way Marty put it to me was, it was as if her son was taken away by bogeymen under the bed. Now, you know, the point is that these gangs often groom kids that they see as easy targets. So loners, children with special needs. The fact that they're vulnerable makes it more easy to suck them into that downward spiral, and it often affects younger brothers and sisters too, because they will sometimes get threatened with violence as well.
So what's being done to help them?
Well, there are A big part of it is policing the drug trade these days. So those early morning raids, Derbyshire Police told me that they shut down 35 county lines last year. The Leicestershire Force say they closed another 23. The Home Office calls county lines a priority and says it's spending millions of pounds supporting victims and families. And some good news back at Safe and Sound, who say they've helped one 18-year-old recently to get out of a county lines gang and to get a good job offer now. If you're worried about your kids, they say, you should ask for help as soon as you can.